Hi, welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. We are going to continue our journey in learning just a little bit more about this amazing language every day. Yesterday, we talked about 狂妄自大, which is Chinese way of saying somebody who's arrogant because they behaviorally, cognitively are thinking themselves too big, bigger than who they really are. So people who take themselves too seriously or think too highly of themselves, they're regarded as 狂妄自大. Okay, so today we have 妄自菲薄. It's almost the opposite of yesterday's 狂妄自大 because 狂妄 is kind of high energy, and even if it's unrealistic matching, if it has a 狂 in front of it, it's like they are bigger than they are, right? The energy level is wilder. So like the plant have a deeper root that grow faster, bigger, something like that. So this is like a higher energy than regular people. And so that's like bigger than they are. And today is smaller than they are. So if yesterday is overestimate themselves, this is underestimate. So almost polar opposite. But the way Chinese pack this phrase together and pass it down generations that will still use it, 妄自菲薄, is slightly different. We use a plant image in this, feeling small. We again going back to plant to find inspiration of how you feel small. Okay, 妄 again. We have this death symbol that's lower ground with a human figure hiding inside the earth. That means somebody who is buried underground a long time, then it's death. Originally, it was hiding. Now, if a long time, it's death. And the bottom is a female figure. You can see it's a kind of hand folded with a hip image. So it's just female traits and some behavior traits by society back then as well, right? So that's death and woman. The two symbols combined to mean somebody who is delusional. He's not seeing reality as is. I'm not sure if there is some, gender bias over there, but that's language creators' observation. So I would honor that, and because I have no choice. How are we going to depict delusional if we create a language again, right? If it's death and woman symbol over there, maybe there are some stories of why woman and death would create this psychological, like a cognitive earthquake to somebody who lost touch with the world. Don't know. I would say death and woman probably are the two strongest stimuli on a person's life. Most likely, literacy person back then, mostly men. So these two are strongest stimuli, and stimuli, there's no S there. And they probably could cause the man delusional, like lose touch of reality if they couldn't adjust to the two stimuli in the right way. That's my version of why death and woman combined to create this cognitive inconsistency with the reality effect. Okay, 字 again, we inherited from yesterday, is self-referral, comes from this nose. We have two nostrils stacking up. So as part of the language evolution process, a lot of horizontal things are lifted up to save space. And then we have the nose bridge. And this is, I guess, a spacer over there to draw your attention. Okay, so this, you don't want to make it an open space, right? So this brings the order up there to show you this is the area of the face we're talking about, which is close to the nose bridge and two nostrils over there. So that's our nose image icon that eventually used to refer yourself, because we often point ourselves, the center of the face, which is on the nose, as a self-referral, right? That's a human instinct, I guess. And then 菲薄, both of them have this plant image. this almost like a cup looking thing with something growing in the middle. So that's plant symbol. We have normally just two of them paired together to mean multitudes of those grass. And then the bottom, of course, are sound makers, but I like to see the sound makers make meaning as well. We see this structure, originally it means negation. It's a negation of reality. So some scholars say, okay, so one side is real image, the other side is a mirror image. So the mirror image is a reflection or illusion of the real thing. I don't know about that, but this is a plant. The meaning of this comes from a plant that's slightly fragrant, and it's both pleasing to the eye and the palate. So it can be, it's edible, but you can also appreciate the, the beauty of the plant. So the plant, I would imagine, was used in the cuisine. Even if I have no clue what this fei is today, like I don't see it, anything called fei in Chinese grocery market over here. But instead now we have a jiu, which is removing the plant symbol on the top, have the bottom a horizontal line. That's jiu, that's jiu cai, that's a Chinese chive, like long, flat tubes of leaves. And I mean, it must have some nutritious value over there because it's a veggie and it's cheap as well. So that cheapness, that commonly seen and like nothing precious about it. Precious comes from the rarity, right? Scarcity. So if it's not scarce at all, it's commonly seen and used and probably traded frequently, consumed frequently. It's like there's nothing special about it. And that context of there's nothing special about it, it's so commonly seen, and there are multitudes of those, and they are cheap, very affordable, very daily. And then that's Chinese way to flip it, to infer it as that's humble, because there's nothing special to it. It's common. Okay, so that's the humbleness coming from a commonly consumed plant in back then. And bo also have this plant image, but instead it carries the meaning of thing. So it's, how does that come to be? Okay, I have to dig deeper into the Chinese because this is pretty complex, pretty busy frame, right? We have water sign on the left, which come from the mainstream and the side streams near the bank, where the currents are interrupted more. So that's a pretty realistic depiction of water streams. And then the right side, we have the hand symbol with this pointer, the hand, a pointer to here. So here is a symbol of an inch, because Chinese doctors, oftentimes they don't use, before the modern medical device and all kinds of like MRIs, all kinds of big expensive machines to run through your body, Chinese doctors, what they do is just to place two fingers on the top of like 1 inch down of your wrist to detect the pulse of your, your bloodstream, right? And from that pulse, the behavior of the pulse can tell a whole lot about the well-being. I find it amazing. I tried it once. It's pretty accurate. So that pulse reading diagnostic technique then was embedded into the language of, okay, if you want to detect the pulse of a person, you go to 1 inch down the wrist. So that's the symbol, what that means here. It means 1 inch down. And then this symbol in the middle is ancient water container. Because, okay, ancient times, we don't have plastic, right? So we cannot make perfect cylinders shape of things. It has to come combined by chopped up wood panels, right, combined together and with the bottom somehow, sealed as tight as possible. And that wooden water container is captured over here. This is the handle of it. Even that was depicted, like you can hold onto it. It's quite thoughtful, daily use device. And you have this hand symbol. I'm not sure if it exactly is a hand symbol because there is a hook on top of there. But in any case, it could mean something related to water. Wait, what's the English word? Okay, I just call it a water container. I forget what's the cylinder shape of water container is called. But okay, water, inch, and some, I guess it's a sort of dispenser. So the whole thing on the right side actually depict farming activity back then. That imagine you have a farmland. So everybody was assigned a piece of land and they want to keep plants growing and irrigate them, right? So the irrigation of their plants have to go with water dispensing somehow. I mean, there were no automatic dispensers back then, right? So everything is manual. So you have to hold this bucket. Okay. So I remember the bucket of water handed out to their plants, to their soil, right? And go inch deep. Okay, imagine it's a pretty labor-intensive process. You don't have water tubes coming out to you, right? You have to reach down to a well to get the water out. Quite a laborious process, right? Get the water out, and then you hold that bucket of water, go to the plant to irrigate them, right? You want to make sure waters are just enough for the plant to grow, right? The right amount. And you can use that as long as, or as bigger area as possible so that you don't want to, have too many trips to the well to fetch water. You just want to do it right. So everything has to be super calculated. And this inch symbol, I regard it as the rule of thumb of how deep you should wet the soil, just inch deep, not any deeper. That's my understanding of how this irrigation back then, manual process working. So this bucket of water spreading as bigger area as possible, as deep as inch, image was used eventually to mean to spread. So kind of distribute your water irrigation over a land evenly and as wide as possible. So that becomes a spread. And then with water sign, so this is spreading irrigation plus water sign, that means water spread. So I'm not sure it's a flooding situation. It seems to be a evenly spread out water. So it probably is a, just overspill of water somehow. Or widely irrigated land could be that. So it has nothing of a negative connotation. If anything, it's a good connotation. It's something like a water-rich land. That water got, irrigated evenly and widespread. So eventually this widespread becomes essential meaning. And the widespread plus this plant symbol now means thin, like a thinly spread. I guess this thinly spread concept can be explained by this thinly spread water irrigation practice back then. And so now when it combined with plant is a type of plant, it's a type of plant behavior. It means the plant was spreading out to a bigger space. So because the water plus the irrigation means widespread, and now the plant plus this widespread means the plant growing widespread. And that from a long distance, you see the plant growing like all over a mountain or something like that. You would see from that perspective as thin layer of plant spreading out. So this humbleness plus this thing is unreal self-evaluation. So it's basically low self-esteem. Like you don't see yourself valuable or special because there are multitudes of you, people similar to you attributes, feeling like just that commonly consumed plant, comparable to that, and also it's widely spread growing plant species. So basically it's like it's so commonly seen and met, and there's nothing special. So that's the source of self-esteem. Low esteem is unrealistically regard yourself as commonly seen, as widely available as that plant. So 菲薄 is our image comparison of how humans feel our own value are, as if they are those common, cheap, nobody have high regard kind of plant thing. So that's 菲薄. And 妄自 is still, that's 妄 is a critique of ancient language creators of this is unreal. You're losing touch with reality. Like how are you going to compare yourself as thinly spread, commonly available plant? That's an unrealistic evaluation. So that's low self-esteem. It's not, it's in our language, so it's commonly seen. I don't know how commonly that is, but it's in the language. It's the opposite meaning to 狂妄自大, right? So that's like a bigger. So this is like a feeling smaller or insignificant as you really are. That one is the opposite. So there we go. 狂妄自大. Catching intelligence of thinking with Sophie. See you another day.